So welcome back to the VW ID Talk podcast, your hub for all things Volkswagen EV. I'm Wes, and today we are sharing a dozen tips to get the most out of your Volkswagen ID vehicle. These tips are things that we personally use on our daily drives.
That's right, Wes. So these tips are grounded into three areas.
Okay.
Convenience, driving, and charging. And the contributions from the entire VW ID Talk community. So big thanks to everyone who contributed to these tips and tricks.
Oh yeah, lots of useful information. So don't forget to subscribe and check out our YouTube channel for videos on each of the tips. Let's dive in.
Yeah, so I'll start with the convenience. How about that?
Okay.
There is one that I'm using literally every day to turn on automatically the steering wheel heating and the seat heating when the outside temperature drops. So if you're in the classic climate control, you can press on the gear as you see. And right here, you can see switch on at start of the trip depending on temperature. And if you're lucky enough that your car has seat ventilation, you can even turn on the seat ventilation. The only challenge is that you cannot set the trigger temperature. This is set by VW and cannot be set from your convenience system easily. But the bottom line is that when you come to your car and the outside temperature is low, these presets kick in, so you don't have to worry about changing anything because it's preset for you.
Excellent.
So that's our tip number one. So I think that's a great segue into heated seats double tap.
This is a trick that I didn't know about until I read the forum. So to turn on your heated seats, you just take two fingers together and double tap on there. That turns it to, you can see all the way up to the third level of heating. You tap again for the second level, tap again for the first, tap again to turn it off. And so I was doing it wrong. I told Jan I was doing it with two fingers like this, tapping on the red and the blue. That's not the way you do it. You put your fingers together, or Jan even just takes his fingers and just puts them on there. And It's much more accurate that way. You're less likely to be frustrated with it not working. But that's a great feature because otherwise you have to go into the climate menu to get to your seats. And that works for both the driver and the passenger seats.
Totally.
You would tap on the temperature controls for the passenger seat on the right-hand side.
The next one is, we are not going to talk about the design choice of two window switches.
Wait, there's only two windows?
I'm sorry. Maybe you didn't know that when you press and hold the rear button, it will start blinking. And what it means is that at that time, when you use the left window switch, it would control both left windows. So if you want to roll down all four windows or roll them up at the same time, the best trick is to press and hold the rear until it starts blinking. Of course, you don't see it's blinking because it's below your finger. So you keep it pressed for like 2 seconds, and then you can control all windows.
So you could pull up to pull all four up or push down to put all four down. And that has timeout on it, right? It only will stay blinking for 10 seconds?
Yes. So what's next, Wes? Oh, this one is my favorite because this one is the one that we've talked to Andy when we did the podcast with him. So
that's right, Andy from Rostech. So this is customizing the home screen of your car, which I learned from the forums. VW has videos on this, which are useful. But you see what I just did was deleted the map, which I've read actually really makes the whole user interface slower if the map is there. So you can just kind of flip over. If you hold your finger on the screen, it brings up an interface where you can now add whatever things you want. So we're going to add, like, say, the driving data. You don't pull it up. See, I tried to drag it up. That didn't work. You tap it. You tap the area where you want to put it. Like I'm tapping on the left there. I hit radio, and now it's going to put the radio there. Then I could tap the square at the top right, and I'm going to add charging information. So you can easily set charging info. That's so much more convenient to control your sound, your bass, and your treble from there. And then I think I put the settings. Yeah, we're going to put the settings here on the bottom. Okay. And now we're done. So I can get rid of that. And now this is what the second window looks like. You can also, if you scroll over to the second window and hold it, you can go to edit and click plus. And now you can pick a different layout. And you can have up to 4 different screens on here that you can swipe back left and right from with different layouts, big tiles, small tiles. The big tiles would be things like radio information or trip information or navigation, like you see there. A smaller tile would be for something that's going to take you into a submenu, like charging or something like that. So
Yeah,
really useful. And it's something
it is.
we should have read the manual, but I didn't know you could do that. And so it actually I think it's made a lot of people a lot happier with their Volkswagen
Yes,
purchase.
I totally agree. And of course, this might be a little different on the newer version of the MIB hardware, the cars that have version 4 and higher. There is one limitation, though, that one tile cannot be on multiple screens. That's what I've seen. So that's a little limitation, but I think you can build your perfect like 1 or 2 screens, or maybe multiple that you want. So let us know down in comments if you knew about this and what's your favorite screen looking like.
Yeah, cool. All right. What's next?
There is a way to set an automation in the shortcuts application. So I open the shortcuts application, and there is an event that triggers when CarPlay connects, as you see. And you can program like any sequence of options or any sequence of actions here. Run this, and you can run this either when you connect your phone or when you disconnect your phone. And so what I'm doing here is that when I connect my phone, it opens Spotify. So each time I plug in my phone into the car, it immediately goes into Spotify. And the first screen and the only screen that I'm seeing once I press, do you want to log in, is the Spotify screen. So
that's great.
My kind of hack of like bypassing the home screen completely. If you figured out how to do this with Android Auto, let us know down in comments how to do it and if you succeeded.
Absolutely. So this may sound like an easy thing, but you would be surprised how many people don't know that you can close your lift gate from inside the car. So you can open it.
Well, you can open it.
There's obviously a switch there. You can open it. You pull the switch, it opens. Okay. But what people don't know is you have to hold the switch in the same position. You pull it up just like you're opening it. And if you stopped right there, it would stop halfway. If you stopped at any point, it would stop closing. And that's, I guess, so that you can control if you're about to hit somebody in the head. You hold it the whole way, and then it closes and latches. One caveat is your butt has to be in the seat of the car.
And I see.
I think the car ignition might need to be on as well.
Yes.
To close it, not to open it. It'll open without you sitting in it. But I tried this on the video. I have a few bloopers reels where I tried to close it and it didn't work. And finally, I got in the car and sat down and turned it on, and it closed just fine.
And you can, of course, use the key fob, right, to open or close it.
I shot that video. We didn't show that because I feel like there's a trunk button on the key fob. So you press it open, so you can close.
Yeah, press it close.
Right. And so then the very next thing, this is a lot of folks know about the
kick sensor.
Yeah, the kick sensor is the hands-free. So you see, I'll walk up to it. You kick straight in and straight out, slightly to the left of the center.
No swinging. Okay.
No swinging. You don't do your side-to-side motion. Some people think you sweep. Then you can walk up and kick in and out, and it'll make a beeping noise, and it gives you 5 seconds to get out of the way. And if you don't get out of the way, it won't close, and you'll have to do it again. But if you get out of the way, once you do the kick in, it'll close again. So when you go to put your groceries in the car, you want to open it. And when you take the groceries out, now you've got a handful of stuff, and you can do the kick, and it will close, which is useful. If you have a trailer hitch, don't bust your shin on the trailer hitch. Just
exactly, because the swinging is really susceptible to
gentle, straight in, straight out, no side to side.
Straight in, straight out. Okay, that's a great tip.
All right.
Cool. All right, so let's move to the next section, driving. And we'll start with backing up because most of us or many of us either back in when we initiate our journey from the garage or driveway or back in when we end our journey. So backing is a pretty frequent thing that we do in our cars. And so what I've learned when I learned driving decades ago was be buckled up all the times. One exception, when you're backing up, you don't have to be buckled up, so you can look to the back of the car. And so with that, you would lift yourself from the seat to see at the back, which, of course, we didn't have so many driving aids. Yeah. But if you use this habit with your VW, with the ID, you see that I have lifted my butty from the seat, and the car automatically switched into park mode because it didn't detect the driver.
I'm sure a lot of folks with an ID4 already knew what you were about to say.
Everybody learned the hard way, including me, when I was backing from the driveway. So when you buckle up, right? And then again, put the car into reverse. You can do whatever you want in like looking backwards, but
I love your
it will
thumbs up
not.
there.
Yes,
It's like an
I really like
infomercial,
this one.
like the
It
fail
is
from one of those,
infomercial. Yes, yes, yeah. So and
but
so
it
this
works.
has to do with the seat sensor that is in the seat that
Right,
kind of conveniently shuts the car or turns off the
right.
ignition when you leave the car. Right.
It's great
So
because it's such
yeah,
a brilliant feature that's so
it
helpful
is. It is
90% of the time. Getting in, the
exactly
car turns on, getting out, it turns off. Unless you're
exactly.
trying to reach out the window and get your mail or reach through the drive-through window to get your food, right? And then your car shuts off and people are like, why is this guy sitting here? Because my car
No,
went into park. And so now you know, don't unbuckle your
now
seat.
you
You
know.
can loosen your lap belt if you need to lean back and
Yeah,
or to lean through
exactly,
the window.
exactly.
Yeah. Good tip. Good tip. All right. All right. So now we've got this is also related to backing up. Um, the rear camera, you can switch to a wide angle mode. You see here, there's a hamburger menu. This is on models 21 to 23, and you can switch between wide angle and regular. You see how the wide angle looks like it's viewed from above. But Jan, if you could go back a second, you see the inset picture I put there. 2024 models
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
have a dedicated button that's always on to the bottom left. You see the highlighting at the bottom left corner of the image. Right there is regular, and the right one is the wide
The
angle
right one.
that you can
Yes.
hit.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to hit the
Mm-hmm.
hamburger menu to go into the wide angle menu.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that gives you a lot of folks have asked for the ability to always have wide angle because it's much easier to see pedestrians if you're backing out of a parking space. As far as we know, that is not possible, even with factory tools or VCDS.
And so,
Um,
if you know how to code it, how to code such settings, let us know down in comments
right.
because we would love to learn.
But yeah, this is a useful tip for being able to see see more of your surroundings when you're trying to
Yeah,
back
yeah,
up.
totally,
You
totally.
want the narrow view when you're trying to parallel park or pull into a parking space, but the wide view when you're backing out. And
Yes,
the second
100%.
tip is something I think most people discover by accident,
Yeah, yeah,
which is the
yeah.
rear camera wash. When you push out on the
And
stalk,
it's built in. It's in your like your car does it,
it
right?
came with
Let
it.
me play that once again. This is really amazing.
Yeah, and I filmed it from the outside too, just so you get the full effect.
Yeah.
And this is the first time it left a little bit of blurry water on there. My car has never done that before, except of course when I filmed this video. But it's really useful because a lot of times that lens is dirty and it does a good job cleaning it off.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. This is our favorite one, which is called maneuver braking. And I'm sure many of you have experienced this. And this is a great feature. It's a safety feature that prevents us to running into things.
Okay.
However, sometimes there are false alarms. So if you have, for example, driveway that is sloping and you're at the threshold of the driveway, then this may kick in. Or if you're backing through your
Yeah.
garage door, or if you're backing into tall grass, like this
Okay.
will trigger.
So when
And
you're
it
backing
very
out of a steep driveway and you're about to get to the end of the driveway, it thinks you're about to hit a wall like
yes,
this,
yes,
right? And so
yes.
there's
And it just slams the brakes. It just doesn't brake gently. It just really slams the brakes.
right.
And there are two ways around it.
Okay.
The one is that you can turn it off in the parking settings, but this is only for that one ignition session. So
Okay.
when you go back to your car and turn on ignition back the next day, then this will reset to on.
Okay.
So I almost wish that VW had a button right here on that parking screen where you can just press and disable this feature. There is a second way that I'm using every day because when you open the user manual, it says it works when you're driving at certain speed. And so when I'm backing from my driveway and I'm approaching the threshold, I am seeing these rear sensors getting red, and I'm hearing the continuous tone. And so what I do, I just slow down even more. I even stop and then look both ways if I can merge into the street and then continue. So that's my workaround.
So wait, how
But
did you get to Jan? How did you get to that menu the first time a second ago? Can you go back and show us what you pressed the
yes,
settings
you
button? Right?
press the settings button. Exactly.
Right.
So when you press
While
the
your
settings
reverse
button,
camera's on.
yes,
Okay.
yes, then
And
you can turn it off. And be warned that the brake jolt is just pretty violent.
Yeah.
It's so if there is somebody in your car and they're not expecting this, it's a big jolt. Yes. And
So-
you see I have simulated this backing into a styrofoam
Yeah,
met here,
that's great.
right? So that's how I
So,
reproduced it.
not to belabor the point here, but the other time where this is really useful is if you are pulling a trailer, or if you have something like a bike rack or a cargo carrier in your trailer hitch. So all the all-wheel drive models, I believe, came with a 1.25-inch trailer hitch adapter. So if you've got a cargo rack or a bike rack back there and you try to back up, it will slam on the brakes.
Yes.
And it's really jarring and upsetting. So every time you redo the ignition, you hit the little button at the bottom right of your camera and turn off maneuver braking.
Yes.
And
so that was number 9.
all right. So next we're going to talk about with driving forward, how to get the max regeneration out of the car. If you want max regenerative braking, you're going to want to use B mode for braking mode. You see, you just flip your toggle forward there one more time. And now as you're going down the hill, you lift your foot off the accelerator and you can see that it's a small amount of regeneration on there. And that's how you get regenerative braking. When you do that, make sure you know that it's lighting up your brake lights. But this is the best way to get regenerative braking.
Yeah. So
what's our next one?
The car doesn't stop, but it will start braking and will probably drive 6 miles per hour. That's the least speed. And if you want to stop, you still need to use the brake pedal. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. The next one is changing views on the driver display. So similarly, like you, Wes, showed how to change the main screen, you can change the tiles on the driver display. Well, it's not touch screen, so you have to use the capacitive
the view switch
steering wheel switch on the right hand side. And if you swipe the view switch, you can flip the different information on the display. I really like sometimes zooming into this navigation one. And when you flip this back and forth, you can change the different views. And if you press the OK button, you can change the consumption meter when you see since charge, since start, and long term. So that's the way how to change the driver display.
So you always have a speedometer on there, but it will let you do like either your turn-by-turn navigation directions or trip computer where you can see. Okay, excellent.
Yeah, cool.
And then next we've got, what's next?
Travel assist. All right.
Travel assist. All right. So basically this is, you have adaptive cruise control, and travel assist is just adaptive cruise control with lane keeping. So when you hit that bottom right-hand button to turn travel assist on, it activates your lane keeping. And what we wanted to show you was that once you set your cruise to resume your speed, normally if you just tap the plus or the minus button, it will increase or decrease your speed by 1 mile per hour. But if you hold it for a slightly longer press, it will round it up to the next multiple of 5. So if you're going 62, it'll take you to 65, and then 70, and then 75, etc. So that's a much quicker way to get somewhere. But you could be in for a nasty surprise if you hold it down and don't expect it to jump up by 5 miles per hour. So be careful with that. Yeah. All right.
And then in the next one, I think you're also adjusting the distance from the car ahead of you, right?
Yeah, the next one is for the following distance. So if you press that button in the very center there, that's not really clear that it's a button, but between the plus and the minus, it allows you to increase or decrease your following distance. And that works for both adaptive cruise control and travel assist. And it's a good idea to keep that as long as possible. I think I keep mine the second from the longest.
Same here. Okay. And I feel like it's safer because keep in mind, the electric cars are heavier. So you may need a little bit more distance, the safety cushion ahead of you.
Excellent.
But wait, there's more. Here is a bonus one for unlocking charging connector. This is a best tip that I've heard so far. And what happens is that if your car is being charged, or maybe if the charging fails, the connector is locked into the car. That's right. That's on purpose. That's for safety. Now, if you want to unlock the connector, the easiest way is to press the unlock button on your key fob twice, and voila.
Twice, okay.
Yeah, twice, and voila, the connector pulls out. Just as easy as that.
It's that easy.
Is that easy? All right, so that wraps it up about our dozen tips for your VW ID vehicles.
Baker's dozen.
We hope that, Baker's dozen. We hope that these insights will help you make the most of your driving experience. And again, thank you to the VW ID Talk community for contributing their knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. So useful. Don't forget, we've got videos for each of these tips on the YouTube channel. And be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes. We'll have more useful information.
And Thank you for tuning in. And as always, keep conversation going on the VW ID Talk, and let us know down in comments which tip you like the most, or if you have some other tips that you want us to go deeper. Until next time, happy driving. Bye.